Peace doesn't begin when life gets quiet. Peace begins when you start separating from what was never you to begin with. Meaning. You start pulling away from environments that required you to act out of character. Places you went just because your friends went. Habits you kept just because your circle kept them. Spending patterns that didn't reflect your priorities, only your surroundings. You begin noticing how much of your life was built on participation, not alignment. You weren't doing things because they fulfilled you. You were doing them because they were available, because they were expected, because they were normal in the environment you occupied. So when separation begins, it's not always dramatic. Sometimes it's subtle. You stop going certain places. You stop answering every invite. You stop feeling obligated to show up everywhere, not out of anger, but out of awareness. You start realizing just because something is social doesn't mean it's meaningful. Just because something is exciting doesn't mean it's fulfilling. You can be in a room full of people, laughing, talking, drinking, and still feel empty. It's that feeling when everyone hypes up a party or an event beforehand. They make it sound like it's going to be the time of your life. So you get ready. Maybe you're pre-gaming with friends. Music playing. Energy high. It feels like the night is building towards something unforgettable. But once you get there, you quickly realize it's nothing special. Same songs, same conversations, same activities, different night, same experience. And in that moment, you notice something quietly. The excitement was in the anticipation, not the reality. And it's not just parties, it shows up in purchases too. You ever save up for something you really wanted? Shoes, a watch, a car, a phone. You research it, compare it. Imagine how it's going to feel once it's finally yours. Then you buy it. At first, it feels good. You check it often, protect it, feel proud of it. But a few weeks later, it's just normal. Life feels the same. Nothing internally shifted, and that's when you realize you weren't chasing the item. You were chasing the feeling you thought it would give you. The stimulation of getting it. And once that stimulation fades, you're back at your baseline. That baseline is important because most people spend their lives trying to outrun it. More noise, more events, more upgrades, more distractions. And what's interesting is, you've heard a popular word used to describe those spikes. People call it happiness. And to be fair, it is happiness. That rush you feel before the party, that's happiness. That excitement after buying something new, that's happiness. That dopamine hit from attention, validation, or stimulation, that's happiness too. But here's the part most people never consider. Happiness was never designed to be permanent. It's a temporary emotional spike, a reaction, not a residence. It comes, it peaks, and it fades. Not because something went wrong, but because human beings aren't wired to stay elevated 24/7, and when you don't understand that, you spend your life chasing the next spike to replace the last one. Thinking you're chasing happiness, when really you're chasing stimulation cycles. And when you finally stop chasing the next emotional high. When you stop relying on anticipation to feel alive. When you stop filling silence just to avoid it. That's when you reach your baseline. The version of you that exists without constant stimulation. No performance. No pressure. No noise required. And once you reach that baseline, that's when things begin to level out. That's when your life starts stabilizing. Spending slows down. Distractions reduce. Social noise fades. Drama disappears. Your phone is quieter. Your weekends are quieter. Your routine is calmer, not because life became boring, but because you're no longer running from yourself. You're operating from your natural state. Most people spend their lives chasing happiness, not realizing happiness was never meant to be permanent. It comes in moments, celebrations, achievements, excitement, experiences, and there's nothing wrong with that. But peace is different. Peace isn't loud enough to be chased. It isn't intense enough to be hyped. It doesn't spike your emotions. It settles them. Peace is what remains when stimulation isn't present, when you're not performing, not escaping, not distracting yourself, just operating from your natural state. And to people used to chaos, peace can feel boring at first, because peace looks like this. Your bills are paid before they're due. Your phone isn't ringing with emergencies. You know what your week looks like before it starts. You're not scrambling to recover from last weekend. You wake up and nothing is on fire, no drama to fix, no crisis to manage, no emotional spikes to regulate. Just routine. Just structure, just space. The kind of life older people settle into after they've spent years chasing everything else. But peace doesn't belong to age, it belongs to awareness. And once your life stabilizes, you realize something important. You don't need constant excitement to feel okay. You don't need attention to feel validated. You don't need noise to feel alive. You just need alignment. And when alignment replaces stimulation, peace stops feeling empty and starts feeling powerful. Not because it gives you a rush, but because it gives you control. Control over your time. Control over your money. Control over your reactions. You decide when to participate. You decide when to celebrate. You decide when to step back. You can still enjoy life. You're just no longer dependent on it to regulate your emotions. So when the night ends, when the trip is over, when the excitement fades, your peace remains. Because it was never built on the spike to begin with. And once your life stabilizes, things don't slow down. They start accelerating. Not in chaos, but in position. You look up and money is sitting there for emergencies. Not borrowed, not scrambled for, saved. You have additional money that isn't already assigned to survival. Space you never had before. You're in position to start a business without financial restraints. And that's the best position to start from. Because your personal structure carries over into the business structure. You're not building from survival pressure. You're building from stability. Your bills are already covered. So the business doesn't have to carry your life immediately. Your emergency savings exist. So setbacks don't create panic. Your spending is disciplined. So revenue isn't wasted once it starts coming in. You're patient enough to let things grow properly, because you're not desperate for instant results. That structure becomes leverage. It allows you to make decisions from logic, not urgency. To invest properly, not recklessly. To scale intentionally, not emotionally. Which is why businesses started from stabilized lives have a higher chance of surviving pressure, because the foundation was structured before the risk was taken. Structure doesn't just protect your life, it protects what you build next. If you lost your job tomorrow, it wouldn't create panic. You'd adjust, not collapse, because your life is no longer built on constant recovery. It's built on structure. That's what stabilization leads to. Not boredom, position. Position to move when you want. Position to invest when you're ready. Position to rest without anxiety. Your structure starts accelerating you forward, because nothing is pulling you backward anymore. So if you ever find yourself in a quieter season of life, don't panic. Don't assume something is wrong. Don't rush to fill the silence, because that quiet might be the first sign that your life is finally stabilizing. Choose peace.